Are you writing a fantasy world for the first time but not sure how to create a political system? Then you've come to the right place. In today's video, I talk about how to write fantasy politics as a beginner. So be sure to stick around. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. Today's video is mainly for writers who are creating a political system in their stories for the very first time. So if you're looking to write a political book or a fantasy world heavy on the politics, then this is not the video for you. I just want to lay that out there before I share my tips, since this video is going to discuss writing fantasy politics in simple, easy to follow terms. Okay, so let's discuss politics when it comes to world building. Does every story need politics? The answer is no. However, if you're creating a unique world with its own set of rules, then you'll need to include some political basics. This might look like a government led by a king or queen, a president, a captain, a tribe leader, and so on. There might even be several leaders running the government. Even if your world's government doesn't play a major role in the plot, chances are that characters are influenced by the politics. So my first tip for beginners is to consider the type of government your story world has. There are many types of governments, but a few come to mind. Most of us are familiar with a democratic government and a dictatorship. We also know of monarchy and colonialism, but like I said, there are many forms of governments. So if you're interested in learning more about that, Google is your friend. But for the sake of keeping this video simple for beginners, I suggest creating a government you are familiar with, like a dictatorship or monarchy, where you have a king or queen rule until they die and then someone from their bloodline succeeds them. Of course, the type of government you choose should also tie into your story genre. Also, be mindful of your target demographic's age. For example, if you're writing for young adults, keep story politics simple enough for them to understand what's going on. So the amount of details you share with your readers about your story government will be tailored to their level of knowledge. After all, you don't want to overwhelm and bore readers to sleep. My second tip for beginners is to consider the government's allies and enemies. If your story world is a kingdom, are there other rival kingdoms? How about allies? What does each kingdom want? What are they fighting over? Also, consider the political parties or groups within the same government. If we look at the American government, for example, we have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, among others. Parties or groups often don't agree on the same policies. So people in your story world might be for or against certain policies. Even if your story isn't heavy on the politics, you might have characters disagreeing with the rules set in place. And that starts with you understanding your story politics. And my last tip for beginners is to consider your story world's religion or religions if there are many. In many governments, religion plays a major role. That's not always the case, but if your story has a religion that plays a central role in the characters' lives, then it might be important to the politics. The government might create rules in the name of religion. Just look at how world governments have been shaped by religion throughout history and recreate that in your story. Of course, there are more to writing fantasy politics than these tips, but these should help you get started. The more you write, the more you'll be able to include politics into your story naturally. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, does your story have any politics? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne and Alan J. Early from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president!